Hey Zwifters, welcome back to another Zwift racing video. I am Oliver and I've raced over 400 times on Zwift, so I've got quite a bit of experience under my belt, and I'm going to be talking you through this Zwift race that I did, which is the Zwift Insider Tiny Race Series. So I actually did the first race, but I didn't record it because I wasn't really trying to go all out on that race, because I wanted to just not get disqualified on the second race, because I was going to do race 1 and 2, and I needed to do race 1 in order to count for race 2, so I kind of just joined in race 1 and just chilled so that I could get credit for race 2. Race 2, the reason why I chose this race to go all out on was because it ends at the top of the New York KOM. Whenever I hear hilltop finish, I am all in and I am ready to race, because I am a lighter rider, and so I love those uphill finishes. So what I really wanted to do on this course was to just make sure I stayed with the group towards the front for the entire race, because I did not want to risk getting dropped before that finish, because I really just wanted to blast up the KOM. You saw that I did accelerate quite a bit at the start of the race, because I was worried that I was going to get dropped by the other riders at the start on that descent, so I really wanted to make sure that I was close up towards the front when that race started. That's something that I really like to do when I am trying to stay close to the front in New York races, because most of these races start on a descent, which is horrible for me, and I've been dropped so many times I can't even remember how many on that descent. So I've got some bad memories, and I've also got some good memories, and this is considered one of them. One of the reasons why I like to join the Tiny Race Series is because the Zwift power ranks are amazing. At the end, I'm going to show you all the gain that I got from this race, which is pretty crazy, and every time there are riders with ranks of either sub 100 or just over 100. I believe the lowest ranked rider here was around 106, which is just insane for a Category B rider. And I often use my Zwift power ranking to determine how I am compared to how I have been with Zwift racing, so I kind of use that to monitor my progress throughout the year. My lowest that I've ever had it is what I have it at right now, which is around 151, I think, and my previous lowest was around 160. So I am improving as a Zwift racer, or it's just everyone else is improving, so everyone else's rankings are getting better, and there's kind of just Zwift power rankings inflation, which is something I actually want to talk about in another video, because I kind of noticed that happening with category A, B, C, and D riders, because riders are getting smarter with how they race, and everyone's trying to optimize their Zwift power score. But that's a topic for another time. This is about the race that is going on right now, so let's get back on topic and back to the race. So you can see that right here, a lot of riders are turning their featherweight power-ups on. I am totally against that. I don't want to use my featherweight power-up right now, because I know that I am basically a featherweight power-up, and I don't need the power-up to help me get up this portion of the climb. I am going to need it later on to beat the other riders, so I know that I need to save it right now. Otherwise, I am going to have no energy at the top, and the rest of the riders will have saved their power-ups, and I'll just kind of be left in the dust. I start to make my way towards the top 20 or so riders, who are all in a big bunch, and you can see on the minimap that there's already a huge string of riders, and it's only going to get more and more strung out. It kind of blobs back up a bit right here once on the flat portion of the course, but the gradient kicks back up to around 15%, and New York is one of the steepest routes other than Yorkshire and Innsbruck, I believe. Those two are some of the steepest courses in Zwift, but this peaks at around 16 or 17% on some portions of the climb, and we're going to take a right here, which is going to take us up the New York KOM. So I was pretty excited for this finish, as I already mentioned earlier, and I was still saving my power up. I was feeling pretty good at this point in the race, and I was kind of just trying to move up to the top 5 or so I could really secure a good position and get ready for the finishing stretch. A few riders are leading the pack on this climb. None of them I really knew, because these are all new riders each week, but normally some familiar names that I normally see are Benjamin Axe and Chris Hosel from Watch Fabric, but they weren't here today, which was kind of good for me because it gave me a better shot at taking the win on this race. You can see now, you can look at the mini-map and see that there's just a huge string of riders. It literally looks like a snake, and they're just all strung out from here to like maybe a minute where I was a minute ago, and that just shows how wide a variety of riders there are in these races. there are a lot of sprinters, but there also are quite a few climbers. As you can see, there are quite a few still hanging with me and the lead group. You can see that some riders using their featherweight power-ups. I'm still holding mine because there's over half a mile left in the race, and I know that there is a final kick that I need to be able to really put in that final surge to bring myself to the front of the group. I'm still moving up a bit. I'm definitely securing my spot in the top 10, and this is when riders are starting to drop back. You can see the gaps start to grow on the HUD on the side. You can see that the gaps are starting to grow to like 1 to 2 seconds from us and the rest of the riders, which means that we are getting a gap and we're securing a small group, so we can all kind of secure our spot in the top 10. Half a mile left now, and you can see the finish almost on the mini-map, but not quite. And if you look to the left, that's where the finish is going to be, and there's going to be another steep gradient coming up here, which is kind of going to be the final kick before the finish. And this is when I definitely try to surge towards the front of the group, because I know that this is going to be an important part of this race, because I know that this is where riders are going to start to make their moves, so I need to be ready to follow. I've got around 5 riders around me. The rest of the riders are kind of strung out behind, and this is when I put in a pretty big surge to try to follow these riders, really just trying to get the most of the draft. And you can see my heart rate's at 207, meaning I am definitely suffering. I'm not just chilling anymore. You can see one rider's already got like a 2-second gap on everybody, so now I am just holding on to these 2 riders' wheels, and I'm getting ready to punch up this climb and really see what kind of damage I can do. So I turn on my featherweight power up, and right here is when I kind of start my sprint. I pass quite a few riders, and I'm pretty surprised how fast I'm going up this climb. But then I realized that there's like 900 feet left, and I am not even at the top of this little kick. So I need to be able to draft another rider, because I know that I probably won't be able to ride on the flat part by myself without drafting and still take the win. So right here I try to follow that rider who has quite a bit of momentum, but I can't really follow that rider, and I get stuck behind this rider. So I kind of just hold onto his wheel, thinking if I just sit in with him, I will get 3rd place. So that was kind of my mindset at this point. Then once that rider passed, I was like, okay, I gotta really pass this rider. And this has happened to me so many times. It's super annoying, where like I'm like right next to the rider and I just can't put in a big enough surge to pass them. As promised, I will bring up my Zwift Power ranking score for this race, and it is crazy how much of a gain I got. You can see that my ranking is now 151.97. Previously it was around like 164, and this got me a gain of 12.6 points, and my result was 125.18. Average power was 5.3 watts per kilo, 200 watts. I was super happy with this result, and this is definitely going to be a race that I remember. If I were to do anything differently, I probably would have put in a bigger effort to try to catch that rider's wheel, as you saw earlier, but I saw I wouldn't have gotten stuck behind the rider who was just in front of me, and that would have probably helped me just draft a bit more and maybe come in 2nd or 3rd place. But overall, I was super happy with that finish, and yeah, thanks for watching. That's all I've got for this video, so please leave a like, subscribe, and see you all next time. Ride on!